That's what I was.
Okay, welcome everyone to City of Sunbury Parks and Rec Committee meeting agenda for December the 6th, 2023. It is about 5:31 p.m. How about a roll call, Amber?
Mr. Ghost,
Here.
Mr. Grumley,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
3 present.
All right, let's go to the approval of the minutes for our last meeting that took place on November 1st, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, I have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. Grumley. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumley,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
Yes. Approved.
All right, thank you. Okay, visitor section, looking out, and I do see we do have some visitors this evening. I'm not sure if anybody wishes to speak. Mr. Mayor mentioned something to me earlier today. I believe your scout troop, it's Brittany, right?
Yes, I'm Brittany. This is Avery and Penelope. They're 5th graders, and we had Mayor St. John come to one of our Girl Scout meetings to teach us. And he thought this would be a fun meeting for them to learn a little bit.
We'll try to make it fun for you if we can.
So I have to ask, do either of you girls know Gracie Irvine? No, okay, she's a Girl Scout, so I didn't know if maybe.
What?
6th grade. And what grade are you girls? What grade are you guys? Good, okay, very nice. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Thank you.
What Girl Scout troop was it?
4803.
4803. By the way, have you been out to Camp Jockety?
Yes, we have.
All right, that's great.
Right?
My daughter is in the social media department for the Girl Scouts of Heartland, Ohio, down in Grandview. They're their main office down there, and we've been out there a few times.
Yeah.
That's a great place.
We've done a mud run there, we camped there. Yeah, our full service unit, so from kindergarten to senior year, we go every July to Camp Jockety.
Yeah,
For like every age camp parade, we call it.
yeah. I was blown away I was impressed by that place. It was big ponds, pathways, buildings. It's impressive.
So, Mr. Chairman, while we're on the Girl Scouts, I mean, as a reminder, I think Councilwoman Cooper didn't you also address a Girl Scout group?
Mhm.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Another troop.
yeah.
Awesome.
Which is good. I think that's super great that we're speaking to girls at such a young age and hopefully influencing them to grow up and be involved in your community and do public service. When I went to vote this last time, the woman taking my IDs, I had all the kids, and she said, "Oh, you have a bunch of future voters." And I said, "I have a bunch of future candidates." Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and thinking about us. That's great. Okay, let's go to new and unfinished business. We do have the National Fitness Campaign on the agenda and the Old Orchard Park. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to just mention something about Christmas on the Square. I hadn't talked to anybody yet. I was not in attendance. I was out of town. I was just curious how everything went.
I don't know, maybe we could invite Nancy. We do. Yes.
Personally, I think it went really well. The parade was lighted and musical, and we had the band, and everything went off. I think everything went really well. We've learned a few things that we need to do differently in the future. That's always a good thing, actually. But the square was full of people, and the weather was cooperative, and I think that we had a great Christmas on the Square.
Oh, good. No
We
safe.
had the 8th grade choir come and sing Silent Night before we did the tree lighting. And that was really neat to have them there singing. I thought.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep,
And the mayor was in attendance and,
he was.
okay, great.
The Girl Scouts marched.
You guys were there too?
The Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts were on the Square, the Cub Scouts marched. Nice turnout.
St. Nicholas was there.
Saint Nicholas was there. Santa Claus was also there. Yes, it was great.
So Brittany and Avery, do you all have fun? Do you like it? Any suggestions to make it more fun? Nothing. If you think of something, let us know. All right. Thanks, Nancy. Okay, let's go to National Fitness Campaign. I think Mr. Grundy has.
And for the record, before I get started, I need to correct, my niece is in 8th grade, not 6th grade. I know, my sister's got, my sister's got 6 kids. I can't keep track of them all, but yeah, so. I don't know. She always, for some reason, 6th grade came to my mind and I spoke, so 8th grade. So, yeah, my age is showing. So anyways, so yeah, the National Fitness Campaign. So a representative from this campaign reached out to Tim probably, I don't know, a month or so ago, maybe, and reached out about a campaign that's being run. But a little background first, I guess. So this is a great time in Sunbury for like parks. And, you know, a lot of ideas going. In fact, girls, if you know about J.R. Smith Park, in the next year or so, there's going to be some exciting stuff going on down there. We're going to have a big splash pad and some play equipment and things down there for kids to play in. So again, it really is an exciting time. And so it's kind of timely that this group reached out to us. But this group, their goal is to get America healthy, get them busy, get them outdoors, get them exercising. And so they created these things, this National Fitness Campaign, and 2 types of fitness courts. And if we could maybe just advance to see what the actual fitness court looks like. Let's keep going there. I think the next one, yeah. So that's a fitness court. So everything's driven by basically your own body weight. So you can do anything like, you know, core and squats and agility, lunge and pull-ups and stretching and that sort of thing. That's one style of court. And then you can also get a bigger court. So on the other side would be like a room for aerobics. Yeah, there you go, right there. So this is a campaign, again, pushing across the country. Right now in Ohio, there's one in Washington Courthouse, Fairborn, Springsboro, Lima, Wakeman, Avon, Beechwood, and Oregon, Ohio. And with this company kind of helps you organize, get the funding necessary to get this put in. They'll work with you. They offer a small grant that goes towards the cost of this, but really most of this cost would come from other grants, either state or federal, and local sponsorship. You can see in this picture right here, the wall right there. One of the cool things about this is you can find a local artist. It can be a contest, and the local artist can paint a mural on that piece of equipment. It is graffiti proof. So once it's on there, it's safe, and that equipment is built with WeatherTech type of technology. So it's built to last for a long time. It also has the ability, like a mobile app station, where basically you download the app and then it gives you exercises that you can do, using that equipment or that space. So again, the idea is to draw the community together in the name of fitness, to give people an outdoor space to work. And so myself, the mayor, and Daryl were on a call, I think it was last week, and spoke to their spokesperson a little bit more in detail about it. Unfortunately, Tim was unable to make the call, but again, Tim's the one who kind of got this ball rolling. And one of the key things about this is giving adults and individuals kind of a place to go. So we're going to have J.R. Smith Park, which I think is going to be more family driven. It's going to be more, pavilion, birthday parties. I can see splash pad, play equipment. This is designed for people 14 years or older to experience this. And so just in my head and my vision, I'm just thinking about something where, again, adults can go to, whether that's something like this, along with a pickleball court, along with maybe, a walking path, some green space, maybe even a shared garden, something that adults can go to, or older adults, because if we get to be a bigger city, we need to kind of maybe offer other types of amenities that's going to attract a different type of individual or group of people. So one thing with this location is key. So they wanted to go somewhere that's accessible to the community at large, not somewhere where you have to drive and park and get out and walk. This is more of I can bike to it, I can walk to it from Sunbury, sidewalks going up to it. So we have to talk about location. If we were to pursue something like this, it's just kind of an introductory piece of it. There is a grant, again, I think it's a $30,000 grant that we can apply for. There's a certain requirements for that application and timeframes. And I know,
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in total cost, usually between 2 and 250,000.
I had between 2 and 225, I think. Yeah. And that includes everything you see, the cement, the structure itself, the support, the assistance with getting, possibly grants or the process of getting through this. And so, where it might go and where it might go into our city plan is something we can certainly discuss, but I thought it'd be interesting to bring up here as maybe a potential project as we look to expand our park system and do some new things. Some places, I don't think J.R. Smith Park is the right place just because it's so close to where the young kids will be playing. I think it'll just be too tempting to want to go and hang out on some of that stuff. So, we talked about maybe part of Orchard Park or maybe by the reservoir, maybe some park space there might work, just to spitball and throwing that out. But I thought this was pretty exciting, not something I had seen before. It looks like something built to last. You can have classes out here. Someone could schedule an aerobics class out there, take some young adults could go there and sponsor a class or something like that. So,
What is the texture of the blue flooring?
I think it's just like a matting, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's some type of softer mat.
I just wondered how responded to weather. In other words, what's the life expectancy?
So
Something
she
like
answered that. I think she said between 15 to 20 years, I think, is the
Oh,
life
okay.
expectancy.
All right.
Yeah. So,
But again, I think the company's only 5 or 8 years
well,
old.
so they've started, so I looked into that. That's a great point. They started doing this type of design back in 2012.
Well, okay.
Now the company actually started back in 1979, but these parks were like sand and metal
Right,
equipment.
yeah.
So they looked a little different back in 1979, but in 2012, they kind of kicked off this new initiative with the new look here. So,
I'd be curious to discuss with the other cities. You said Washington Courthouse,
yeah,
Oregon, Beechwood.
yeah, Avon, yeah.
Just get some feedback from them and see how their residents like it, see how it's
Right.
holding up.
Right, absolutely. So,
Final costs for them, what were they?
maintenance costs, and they also explained it's a very low, I mean, according to obviously this group, but it's a very low maintenance, low cost operating system. It's there's not a lot of mechanics to it. It's just things that are pretty fixed. So, but yeah, that was the point, I think, was just to kind of bring an introduction and kind of share what we found out. Their website has a lot of information and pictures to go through it even further. But I think the campaign's a nice campaign. I think their intentions are very good as far as getting America outside and doing things. And again, as we grow as a community, I think the more options we have for people to do things, I think it's going to be more attractive and give people an opportunity to do some different things. So.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hennessy, do you have anything to add?
No, I think John did a fantastic job of summarizing the features and the conversation that we had. There was a little bit of discussion about timing. I think we had indicated that 2024 is probably a little early for us, but it sounds like there may be multiple opportunities to get in a funding round. And to your point then about maybe some outreach, what we can do is have Alyssa maybe do some outreach to those Ohio communities just to see how they're faring.
Absolutely.
Put
That'd be
together a
great.
summary for.
Get some
That'd be
good
awesome.
feedback from them.
Yeah, thank you for that. That'd be great.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Grumman.
thank you.
Any further discussion on that, Mr. Martin?
No, that's really something.
All right, next item on the agenda, new and unfinished business, we have Old Orchard Park. And this was prompted by Mr. Martin received an email, I believe I got a copy too. A resident who was, I think, the former scout leader.
Yeah.
Who had done some work down at Old Orchard Park in the past in terms of clearing it out and creating the original grassy path areas and exposing the apple trees and other fruit trees. He's interested possibly in pushing that along and maybe doing that again and opening that back up a little bit further and for access. And so that's kind of where this comes from. I know we also have on the agenda to add benches for
There are fruit trees down there, but they're being choked off by vines and stuff. They're growing crazy. And what he'd like to see is that it become an orchard again, but an orchard open to the public, so people could go in and pick an apple while they're out for a walk and just, some of that kind of stuff. This clear back when I was still village administrator, an Eagle Scout did his Eagle Scout project there to clean the place up and make it walkable at least, because it was so horribly overgrown. And now we have the path going down through it and all that kind of stuff. And so now that there's a little more access to get into it, he thought, well, why not take advantage of the fact that we have all these fruit trees and everything growing down there, and let's see what we can do with that. So that was what spurred the email to me from him, he knew how much work this kid had done for his Eagle Scout project, and he'd like to see it happen again. So
I think it's a great idea, very worthwhile. I think it wouldn't take that much time. It'd be some expense in terms of our service folks getting down in there and
we may even throw it out there as a community service project for some organization that's looking for something to do.
maybe Girl Scout Troop 4803. Penelope, Avery, you interested in an apple orchard? Okay, well.
If you don't know, Old Orchard Park is what's down at the bottom of the hill from Sunbury Cleaners. So it's across that bridge, and it's that little low area down there on that side of Granville Street, the south side of Granville Street. So that's where Old Orchard Park is.
Yeah, so for the benefit of the members, we did pull a couple of pages from the Sunbury Parks and Rec Master Plan that
Yes.
referenced Orchard Park, Old Orchard Park. So one, it gives you a general location. Unfortunately, we don't have the pages numbered for that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, to your point, I mean, it at least helps give people a sense of where it is located and maybe what was originally contemplated, not a whole lot. So
I think it'd be a good idea to take it a step further, and maybe Alyssa or Daryl, if you could maybe have a service personnel person scope it out a little bit and determine where the trees might be and how much cost there is to clearing it.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe
reasonable access.
we probably need a little technical assistance, in terms of helping to identify the healthier trees.
Maybe Aaron, we
Yeah,
could get Aaron
maybe we
on.
get Aaron.
Yeah, have Aaron
That's
walk through it, and he'd make some suggestions.
That's the right guy.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we will
But
reach
there's
out to
access.
Aaron.
See, that used to be completely overgrown. And now we have the paved trail that makes a big oval all the way through it.
Mhm.
And so there's access to it from every side,
Exactly.
and that makes a huge difference. So, yeah.
And if you could, Alyssa, on your notes there, add the cost to put a bench or two. We want 2 or 3 benches down there. Originally, that was the plan. We need to push that forward. Maybe one can go in the orchard area as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion there? Okay, very good. We'll go to other park updates. Next on the list, of course, we had J.R. Smith Park, and Mr. Grundy talked about it earlier. So what we've been trying to do is scrub the cost down, and Rich with CT had done some nice research on the splash pad itself. I think we got it down to under right about 2,000 square feet, and at a cost of around $200,000, if I'm not mistaken. Is that accurate, Dan?
That's my recollection, correct?
Okay. And then secondarily, we just submitted the grant very recently for the Ohio State capital budget. You see the documents in here, the actual paperwork that was submitted. I think Alyssa did this, right?
Alyssa did, yes.
Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
It reads very well.
Yeah, so this is informational only, just to let you know, this is the document that we did send off to the state for the capital budget. It does identify the state rep and the senator. They did encourage us to maybe invite them out to see what our priorities might be. So I think maybe after the beginning of the new year, maybe if we can find a little bit of good weather early in the year, maybe we could get the elected officials out here. we've included both, the J.R. Smith improvement as well as the Ohio to Erie Trail extension. That's the 36 or 37,
Which project?
State Route 37 project. Yeah, the emphasis for the purposes of the state application was on the extension of the trail because that has, they just thought that that would probably be more attractive to the state legislators.
Mm.
But keep in mind, we are trying to pursue the entire improvement, which is
The widening of the.
widening of the
37.
road, all of the other items as well. That's right.
The total cost of that, I think, was 7.5 million. isn't it?
7.5, I think is right. Yeah. And I think we had 4 million from Congressman Balderson at the federal level.
hopefully.
It's not fully approved, but that's his recommendation.
Mhm.
I think we're asking for 2.5 million. I think that was the number, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was the number? Yeah, 2.5.
And the timing on that, during my original phone call with the representatives, they told me it'd be probably May, late April, early May.
Yeah. for the
Before we
capital.
would hear
Yes,
the capital.
the capital budget. That's right.
And we applied for 1.5 million of the 2 million phase one project cost.
Yeah, so that's through the state capital budget. So we put $500,000, a little over $500,000 in the city's budget, $1.5 million request from the state. But we did also then submit to the Land and Water Conservation Fund as well for another $500,000. So in the event that we are lucky and get all of it, I'm sure they will allow us to change the scope and kind of begin to advance to some of the other phases. But yeah.
So we did get that submitted, the second grant to Land and Water.
Yes.
Okay, so they're both in. Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
So, and then maybe one final point here. So I think, I did get from Dan today, we've talked a little bit about what would be the next step for the purposes of
Right.
advancing J.R. Smith Park. A little bit of surveying and boring. Those are the two items. Yeah.
Right, I provided a proposal with, it included engineering, but the engineering cost was not based on fully knowing the site. What I would propose to do is do some site surveying to investigate the utilities as well as do some geotechnical investigation. Because we don't know exactly what's underground. So I'd like to do that before we.
We need to scrub that out.
Exactly. So I'd like to do that before.
Yeah.
Before we put together a final engineering proposal.
And then the other amenity, of course, the pavilion, I think we still need to scrub that down too and see where we are on design and look and feel and cost.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of that comes after these items, I think that Dan is referencing here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Where the cost of that building and look, honestly, the final location of that building
Yes.
will be dependent on what we find.
Amen.
Okay, very good. Any further discussion on J.R. Smith? Okay, let's go to Reservoir Park project and Mr. Whited or Mr. Hennessy, can you comment on where we are there?
The Iron Site, AKA Basemeyer, was given a notice to proceed this week and will be beginning either this week or next week on, I thought they were just going to mobilize this week, but it turns out they're going to start demolition of the infrastructure there in front of where the old plant was, some of that, those
So-
vaults and such.
So that satisfies our grant
It
requirement.
does,
right?
it
Okay.
does. So we're forging ahead.
Okay. And for the scouts in attendance, can you tell them what we're building over there?
We're at the Reservoir Park, which is where the old water plant was located. There's two large reservoirs there that were used to provide water to the plant that was treated and distributed to the city. There's 60 million gallons in those two reservoirs. They're used for fishing. We're putting in a fishing pier in one of the reservoirs as well as a path up to the fishing pier and a parking lot and a couple benches and some dog waste stations, some other ancillary items like that.
And a doggy station for your dogs. All right. All right. Thanks, Mr. Whited. Do we have a diagram readily available? Maybe we could bring up I was kind of thinking J.R. Smith. If not,
I think there's one in our packet, I think.
One in the one drive.
if you happen to get it, maybe Penelope and Avery would be interested.
There's this one in the packet. I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
Probably.
Got it.
Yeah, you'll see. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
Can you see that, girls? There's the new parking lot, and there is a splash pad and a pavilion. And you'll see a perimeter trail all the way around it. And we hope to eventually have that connected to the Ohio to Erie Trail.
That big white square is a new parking lot. You see that gray kind of oval circle? That's the splash pad. Yep. And then there's going to be like a pavilion or like a picnic area right there. And then eventually some playground equipment, I think, and that open green space and another
Pickleball and basketball,
Yeah, and
another doggy station, and a bike maintenance repair station.
yeah.
All right. Okay, there is nothing else here on the agenda. Does anyone else have any unfinished or any other reports or unfinished business to discuss? Mr. Hennessy, Mr. Whited, anything?
I've got nothing related to parks to discuss.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Mr. Martin, second by Mr. Grumney.
Oh, real quick, I'd just like to
Further
recognize.
discussion.
Yeah, sorry.
There's a motion.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, real quick.
He's got further discussion.
Further discussion. Okay, there we go. I just want to say this is Mr. Ghost's last Parks and Rec meeting, and I just like to thank him for his service, his dedication. The part, all this stuff got moving because of the city's work, because Tim's work of really pushing this stuff and looking out for the residents. So thank you, Tim, for leading this charge.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. I appreciate that very much. It'll be tough to leave. I really enjoyed it. But okay, motion for adjournment's been made.
Second, yeah.
Go ahead, Amber.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
and Mr. Ghost.
Yes,
3 yeas, we are adjourned at 5:58.
thank you very much.